Hey, 28-22, Texas Tech. Man, they won their fourth straight, defeated Arizona on the road. Big road victory. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm only have five people on here, if that, uh, by the time this hits. But you know what? There's no way I was gonna go without doing this after what's six? Laugh out loud. Yeah, you know what? I'm giddy, to be honest. Like, for the fan base, uh, I'm kind of beside myself, like, because there was so much adversity going into this game. There was so much adversity in the fourth quarter, and so we look at let's look at college football. All right, let's look at what happened today. Uh, all the upsets. I mean, Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Come on, man. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Like, that's so impressive. Tech to go up, like, that first half was about as good of a half of football as we've seen. Now, Tech last year at Baylor was very impressive. There was back-to-back wins over Oklahoma State that was really impressive. One there in Stillwater, one at home after like a decade straight of losing. But I'm trying to think, at Arkansas. I remember I was there. I actually went to that game. That's when Kingsbury in the post game was talking smack to Brett Belima, however the hell you say that guy's name. And that was epic. That was fun. Tech physically kicked their ass. I'm just gonna say it. They kicked their ass. I was there. It was amazing. All those pig suey folks. Even the athletic director got on me and Don Williams for going to the press conference the way we did. It was really, they were emotional, and it was fun. There's nothing like going on the road and beating somebody. Like, if you want to gain respect in college football, there's one way to do it. There's really only one way to do it. That is by beating a quality opponent on the road. And that's what Texas Tech did tonight. And of all the most unlikely things I could say, and yeah, I'm going to get to your comments. There's some comments about the character of Brooks, and I haven't been shy about espousing my respect for Taj Brooks uh, as a person. I'm not saying I know him. I'm not, buddies. I'm not friends with him, but I've interviewed him for a long time at this point, and I, he's as cool as a person as he is a good a player. But the the most unlikely thing is that Taj Brooks fumbled twice in one half, and that Tech overcame it. The only thing more unlikely than that is that Tech overcame it. Um, and that the defense played as good as it did tonight. And Jacob freaking Rodriguez. Look, it's Sunday morning, but it's a Saturday night. Texas Tech has just won four in a row. 4 games in a row. They're the only team that's 3-0. Let's celebrate. Let's get weird. Let's get weird in this. I mean, come on. Let's be real. And Jacob freaking Rodriguez, 13 tackles, a sack, a huge forced fumble. I mean, when Tech's defense had been on the field a long time, I mean, how much more can you ask from the defense? Well, you could ask for one more huge freaking play from Jacob freaking Rodriguez. Okay, 13 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, a pass deflection that led to Quincy Ledette's interception. And what about that leap over the Arizona player? He's 315 pounds, and that's a svelte Quincy Ledette. He was like pushing 330, 335 at one point last year. He lost a lot of weight, and he's played well. Excuse me. I'm not sick, I swear. I'm just, I'm fired up, man. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Hey, I'm skipping, but CYTTU says I'm rock hard, Jared. You know what? Go ahead. You know what? I feel bad for your girlfriend tonight, or your wife, or whatever, or boyfriend, whatever. No judgment here. Yeah, get it, man. Because congratulations to Texas Tech fans out there, and the Texas Tech team. Like, man, enjoy this. Like I'm all about like, hey, if it's bad, call it, call them out. Let's say what's real. But Tech has won 4 in a row. I said we did this after Tech beat ACU, Abilene Christian, and tip the cap to Abilene Christian. Tech was a 2-point conversion in overtime away from losing to Abilene Christian in the season opener. But Tech held them, they won, and we said, what is this game going to mean? When we look in the future, what does this mean? What it means is that Tech responded and they survived. They're 5-1 overall. They've won 4 in a row, and they're freaking alone atop the Big 12. As we stand today, people are going to say, is Texas Tech the best team in the Big 12? Well, but they're going to talk smack. Let them talk. If they're not talking smack about you, then you haven't done anything. I'm not trying to sound like a WWE telecast. I just think you need to be where you're at, and where we're at right now is that Texas Tech is alone atop the Big 12. They've won 4 in a row. We've seen Tech do some amazing things offensively. We've seen them struggle offensively. We've seen Tech struggle mightily defensively, and we saw Texas Tech defensively tonight play inspired football. Let's call it like it is. Tech played inspired football on defense. It wasn't just Jacob Rodriguez, though. Man, what a great game from him. So it is a chat. Some of your comments. I had a lot to say, but man, we have a lot. Man, we have a lot of comments for 2 a.m. Okay. Adrian Slay said, I was hoping you're going to do this go live here. Man, win or lose, I'm gonna try and be here. Sick, not sick, happy, sad. I'm gonna keep showing up. It's the family motto. Tommy Grace said, I'm here. Thank you, Tommy. Thanks for being here. Joshua Tucker said, what, reckon what a gutty win. And that's what this team is. Like, all right, let's break it down. What is this team? It's tough. Is it, people say, oh, it's a small team because this or that. It's a slow team. Is it? I think Tech fans, understandably, are conditioned to be a little bit negative, but we're halfway through the season, and Tech has won 5 of their games, 4 in a row, undefeated in the Big 12. So let's enjoy it for what it is and how they've won those games, whether it be ACU, which was, man, that was frustrating, but they won, and they won by being gutsy. Now, they didn't have Taj Brooks, and that's not the whole reason why they lost, and you got to tip the cap to Washington State. But that was the one loss. Since then, North Texas crushed them, never in doubt. Arizona State was a physical team coming in known for running the ball and stopping the run. What did you do? You ran the ball on them and you stopped the run. It's pretty impressive. Cincinnati, they get out to a 14-3 lead on you. You come back. You end up winning. You hold them off. Huge win. Now, Arizona, you get out to a pretty nice lead. 18-3, complete half of football. That first half of football in all 3 phases was freaking amazing. I mean, it was like, what are we seeing here? This is great. Then Arizona just completely dominates Texas Tech for the third quarter. And then they take a lead. And you're thinking, the Arizona missed that field goal. And of all the things you couldn't consider, Taj Brooks fumbles twice. But what do? And, I hate to be cliche. And, look, I've been around, I've been blessed to cover all the phases, all the levels of the sport of football. High school, college, and even my beloved Cowboys. And here's the thing about football. And I really believe this. And I'm a huge, basketball fan too, and I spent so much of my Uncle Rico days playing basketball, talking about football, watching basketball, all that. But there's really nothing like football that I've experienced in terms of comparing to life, real life, in terms of overcoming adversity. And Texas Tech had a lot of adversity in that second half on the road. There was all the reasons to lay down, like lay down. Go ahead. People are going to do typical Tech. They're going to talk about Kitley. They're going to talk about Baron Morton. They're going to talk about Taj fumbling. People were so ready to be so negative. And what did Texas Tech do? They responded, and they won. And what we've seen from Texas Tech under Joey Maguire, and they threw the stat out there, I think it's 13-3. My producer on the Rock and pregame, he's all over it, and then they had it on the TV telecast. But that it's either 13 or at this point 14-3 in one-score games. I mean, that's good coaching. That's resiliency. That's what they say. What's next? And it matters, man. It matters in life. It matters in football. It matters in everything. Like, you have to, first of all, accept this happened and then move on. And that's what Texas Tech did tonight. And that's what we'll see what they do the rest of the season. So, yeah, very gutsy win. All right. Stalgamai said Taj set the tone. Well, that's really interesting because he had over 100 yards again, of course, because that's what Taj does. He had 3 touchdowns, which is a lot. I mean, that's like NCAA football for my fellow gamer fans out there. That's NCAA football type numbers. But he also had those 2 fumbles. So, he did set the tone, but he also was very uncharacteristically mistake prone for Taj. All right. Yeah, I mean, Christian Breton said that Taj had his worst game and they still won. I mean, I don't know about he had the worst game. He had 3 touchdowns and over 100 yards, but those 2 fumbles, those were huge. And that could have been the story of the game. Joshua Tucker says, does it speak volumes about the character of Brooks to seal the game? Yeah, it does. I mean, there's no quitting that guy. Again, I'm not trying to be like, remember the Titans or too cliche, but like, all right. So for those of you parents out there, I mean, you care about your kid, right? I have a son. He's 12 years old. He's going to turn 13 soon. And there is real honest and I think legitimate discussion. Like, do you let your kid play football? Because if you play football, you're going to get hurt. You're going to break bones. I mean, that's just the truth of it. But you're also going to learn a lot of things. And one of the things you're going to learn about is overcoming adversity. Can you learn it in other ways without breaking bones? Probably. But I think the severity of all that, the realness. And I think with youth, even college kids, all of us, the severity of that, of possibly being injured, the highs and the lows of all that, it hits different. You know what I mean? Of overcoming adversity. There is nothing like winning a big football game. And it really sucks to put in all that work and suck at football. I've been on both ends of the spectrum in my Uncle Rico days. And I think Taj experienced all that in the second half alone. You would think like a guy like Taj Brooks, who has so much experience, done so many things, like he's like none of this is going to be new. Like there's something that trips in your brain. Like none of this is going to be new. I know what to expect. And tonight he experienced a lot of new things. He experienced those. First off, he had 5 fumbles or something like that in 4+ years. He had 2 fumbles in one half. I mean, that's life. That's why, again, going back to like Alabama losing at Vanderbilt, Tennessee losing at Arkansas, some of these games where it's like, who would have expected that? How many people bet on that? But that's real life. And real life tells you that if Taj Brooks loses 2 fumbles at Arizona, there's no way Tech wins. But they did. And they did in large part because, Taj didn't quit. He didn't pout. He didn't sulk. And Texas Tech, of course, didn't give up on him. And he scored the game-winning touchdown. So, I hope a lot of people learned a lot of lessons tonight. You'd have to be pretty shallow and dense not to, especially if you're Taj Brooks. And I'll put it to you this way. I know Taj Brooks enough to know that, yeah, he learned some things tonight for sure. And it speaks to his character that he didn't pout or anything. He said, okay, this happened. As Maguire says, what's next? Brett Brand says, we are with you. What a great time. It is a great time. And enjoy it. Live in the moment, for sure. Rickham says, I'll say again what I've said since week 1. In 2024, just find a way. And that's what they've done. Absolutely. All those close wins. I mean, it could have gone either way. And all these games have been coin flip games. I tell you what, like I picked Arizona to win tonight by 5 points, I think, or 4 points. But as the week progressed and I looked at them, and you could look on the board if you're on Inside the Red Raiders. I mean, I posted it, I think, yesterday. I said, man, if this was in Lubbock, there's no way I would pick against Texas Tech. It was my doubt about, can Texas Tech play as they normally play at home on the road or even close to it. And you know what? Offensively, I still think, I don't know, but defensively they stepped up. Tim DeRuyter, the defensive coordinator, called a great job, a great game. Several players played great. Getting Braylon Lux back was huge. Obviously, Jacob Rodriguez, who I've talked about a lot, has played well. Devin Cromwell at safety, he was lighting folks up legally. He'd been at corner, but Tech had several injuries at safety, and they put him in there, and he played really. I really like Devin Cromwell at safety. And what about that interception from CJ Baskerville? I believe, of course, justifiably criticize some of CJ Baskerville's play, but that interception was amazing. He played well tonight. So I don't remember what my original point was, but yeah, the defense played really well tonight. In terms of finding a way to win. That's what I was originally talking about. Joe Gutierrez said, despite Brooks losing the ball twice, the defense impressed when needed. Both things are true. Adrian Slay said, good players make mistakes. Just look at McMillan at the fumble as well. Yeah, and he was just trying to – McMillan is a freaking beast. Taj and Team Mac, I'm not going to try and pronounce his first name. No disrespect to him. I just, McMillan, they're beasts of a receiver. They're both going to be playing the NFL after this. We'll see. Depends on how bad they want it, to be honest, and what situation they get put into. That's just the way the league is. But what a beast stud, to say that. But between those two freaks, two of the best players on the field that you'll find on any college football field, period. Would fumble 3 times in the second half. What are the chances of that? That's why we watch. That is why we watch college football. I mean, that's amazing. You have to respond to adversity. I mean, you do. Fabio Naldino, says, Jared, it's 4 a.m. here in Brazil. I had a lot of coffee to stay up, but it was definitely worth it. Man, it was worth it, wasn't it? It was worth it. I'm a night owl, so I didn't have to take coffee or drink coffee at night. I mean, I drink coffee in the morning, but just to wake up. But what's funny is that I handled all my stuff I had, I needed to do for the website and for in my radio prep. And we had the radio show from 7 to 11. And I remember I told my girlfriend about 5:30. She was like, "What's wrong, baby?" And I said, "Man, I was kind of in my head, kind of mocking everybody on Inside the Red Raiders or on social media about having to, oh, I'm going to need a nap for the 10 p.m. kickoff, or, I'm going to record it and watch it tomorrow. But then I got to about mid-afternoon. I was like, man, I need a nap. I don't know if I could go be energetic and do all this that, needs to get done the rest of the day. But I didn't get a nap, got it. And I'll tell you what, Texas Tech gave me that energy with the way they played. They were inspiring. All right. Josh, that's great. He said Quincy Ledet is the DB we didn't know we needed. What about the way he leaped over that dude? That was baller. You know what's cool is like, it's on this. I mean, it's on my channel. But I interviewed Q before the season, and he's a cool dude, man. He's real, and he's been good for Texas Tech. Not big time stats, but he's been a really good player. Those who know football and watch the game closely, watch the trenches and stuff, know that Q's a really good player. And that was really cool to see him get to do that. That was awesome. Kyle Summers says, yep, Joe G, just glad they didn't run away from it and let him work through it. Yeah, you're right. He's talking about the post about going back to Taj. Brian Topless Bar, my boy, says, defense wins the game. Rodriguez MVP. Absolutely. Jacob Rodriguez is a freaking stud. And last week it was Ben Roberts who had a monster game, who affected the game with a fumble force. His quarterback hurry caused an interception. So I said, go back again on this channel, look at my preview videos. What's the strengths of the team? Inside linebacker. Those two guys are studs, and they're living up to it. Save the best for you, says, we live and die by Taj. Even with him fumbling, Tech's offense without him in the second half was so anemic. Morton's accuracy was alarming. It was alarming, and I believe in calling it like it is. People I've talked about in the last week or so, like Kitley he's been calling better games. I mean, he has. If you want, I'm going to take a step back. If you want me to sit here and criticize the coaching staff in the midst of a 4-game winning streak, then you got another thing coming, because I ain't going to do that. I'm an end result kind of person. And Texas Tech is 5-1 and won 4 in a row. And part of that is that Kitley, and not just Kitley, but Maguire, a great example of adapting, which is what I was trying to get to, is they've adapted to their team. They've adapted to the season, is Maguire's analytical approach to going for it on 4th down. And him on that 4th and half a yard or a yard, deciding to punt in the 4th quarter. What if he goes for it and they don't get it? And I don't know. And that's before Jacob Rodriguez forced that fumble. But what if the drive isn't long enough for him to force that fumble? And I'm just saying that being able to adapt in a season to your team, your personnel, what it's like, all the quirks, is a skill that is very hard to quantify, but is so important. And this coaching staff appears to have it. I mean, that's just the truth. Again, CVTT is rock hard. Go get it. Go get it. Christian Breton. So let's go, baby. Let's go. Congratulations. Okay. So did Tech win? Yes. 2022, I believe I said it in the very beginning. Texas Tech did win. Falls Town's finest. Jacob Rodriguez. Yeah, Wichita Falls Rider. You know what's funny? What do you have? You have Ward. You have Vasher. You have J-Rod. I'm trying to think about who else. I'm probably leaving somebody out in terms of going to Texas Tech. Obviously, they've gone elsewhere. But, yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to go and hang out in Wichita Falls. Just being real. Don't hate me. But, they play some good football in Wichita Falls. There's no doubt. Christian Breton says, we still did too many QT plays instead of just doing what we do best. You know what? What QT play? I mean, there was the double reverse throwback screen pass that was cutesy, but other than that, it was pretty straightforward. There was a problem with some execution, but yeah, I think overall it was pretty straightforward game plan on offense. All right, let's see. Keep it under 30 minutes. We're almost to the threshold. Where was that at? James Campbell. Let's see. Somebody said that's James Campbell said keep it under 30 minutes because that's I after the loss, the only loss, I went an hour. And after ACU, when it felt like a loss, but it wasn't a loss, I went an hour. All the other games I've gone just about 30 minutes or just under 30 minutes, and they've been victories. So hey, man, let's keep it going. We got just a couple minutes left. Let's see. Michael Jackson said good chance to go 7-1. I mean, that's true. I'm not a take it game to game. Like we are not on the team. We're not players. We're not coaches, so we don't have to take it game by. Like, let's just go game to game. Come on, one game at a time. I'm not. That's forget that. There. You know what? To answer your question, yes, there's a good chance to go 7-1. There's a good chance to go 5-3 as well. Maguire is building a solid program, says Secret Agent. Secret Agent, man. Yeah. Good recruiting, good culture. Even Texas Tech alumni has invested a lot of money in facilities and NIL program. Yeah. Very good foundation. And if this can be the type of season that we've all been clamoring for, whether you're a fan or a media member or whatever, it could be huge. Like seriously, moving forward, it could be big. Schlub14 says we cannot take Baylor lightly. Too much on the line now. Yeah, no, I mean that's true. No, Baylor. I mean, look, it's the Big 12, and Vanderbilt beat Bama. We want Bama. I feel like the Chris Farley, Schwarzkopf. I want Holyfield. I mean, like, no, don't do that. I'm not saying again, take it. Take it one game at a time. But I absolutely, Tech is not good enough to take anybody lightly. But at the same time, Tech could beat everybody on their schedule. I mean, especially since like Oklahoma State. You telling me Texas Tech can't go in there to Stillwater and do what West Virginia did today? Are they capable of that? Yeah. Or what Houston did at TCU Friday night? Yeah. So it's there for the taking for sure. Relix said I enjoyed watching the pressure on the QB. What a revelation that was. That was so much fun, man. I feel like I could go for 2 hours. I'm going to try. I feel like if I go too much longer, I'm going to jinx it. But hey, how can I jinx the bye week? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do a bye week live chat that is under 30 minutes so as not to be a jinx because I want to get to all this. I want to talk to you all. I'm having too much fun. Let's see. Yeah, enjoyed the pressure. Yeah, I really think that I've thought this since. So, all right, I'm going to take a step back in terms of Tech's defense. First off, Jimmy's and Joe's matters. I mean, we all know this. Talent matters. But, man, some of the defensive coordinators in the last, let's just say a couple of decades, have been really frustrating. Like, I want to say this without pulling punches, but also with respect. Like, it's been very frustrating to see some of the calls, the way things have called, the way things have been. This program has been recruited to on defense, especially during the Mahomes era, where, like, I remember led the offense on scoring drives all but one time against Louisiana Tech at home and still won by like 10 points or something, like 14 points. And I was like, dang, that's an eye opener. I mean, that'll let you know. And some of that, I mean, again, it goes back to personnel. But coming all the way back around, cutting through a lot of the stuff is Tim DeRuyter is legit defensive coordinator. And doesn't mean he's above being criticized. And I think like one of the things that's really annoyed me is like quarterbacks being able to run on Texas Tech. And I've asked him about that in press conferences. But overall, what's best about Tim DeRuyter is the way he disguises his defense. His whole thing is showing something, disguising it, the whole chess match. And he tried to do that early on. And honestly, his young, especially in the back end, secondary, was not ready to play that game. They confused themselves. It was like they were trying to play